We're here in Berlin at the International Airport Summit. In partnership with Berlin Brandenburg Airport, the summit brings together around 300 of the world's airport leaders, and we're here to speak to some of those people. Welcome to Altitude. Hello, Tara. Welcome to Altitude.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you.
Great to meet with you. How are you finding the summit so far?
Oh, great. I just watched the keynote with the CEO of Berlin Airport, and I actually found it really similar to our airport. We're more of a point-to-point. We're not a hub, and we're constantly looking at how do we drive revenue, how do we drive passenger experience, and for us, our land, which is our critical asset.
So Tara, you I know are focused very much on innovation.
Right.
How are you framing innovation within the Edmonton Airport?
Great. So first of all, it's not just about technology. We really are starting right at the grassroots and looking at how can our team members become more productive. How can we unleash tools like generative AI? How can we help them, assist them to do more with less? So that's one aspect. We then look at innovation from an ecosystem perspective, from a community perspective. So we have 7,000 acres, and part of that is incubating businesses within our region to help them grow. So they may need access to air or to cargo, and we may provide space, real estate space, and actually help them thrive and grow, which drives business for us from a connectivity perspective.
I know that you are also a member of Drone Delivery Canada.
Correct.
Correct. What does that involve?
Yeah, so this is actually working with our transport regulator, Transport Canada, and we're really testing and working with them to figure out how do we share airspace. So thinking about our own FAA, right, within our NAV Canada, we have a great relationship with NAV, and we're always testing how do we do it safely. So not only are we doing last mile delivery of pharmaceuticals and that within various communities, but we're actually using drones for runway maintenance. So I think we're the only airport in Canada that actually uses drones actively on the airfield to do preventative maintenance.
Fantastic. Tara, one of the big themes I see at the summit is sustainability.
Yes.
What are you doing in the sustainability space from a kind of in a really innovative perspective?
Great question. So for us, we're in Alberta, Canada, and there's some limitations. We are carbon intensive just from a grid perspective, and we're very cold. We have very, very cold winters. So we have two major strategies. One is our cogeneration facility. So we actually have built our own cogeneration facility using natural gas. It's not perfect, but it's now powering our entire terminal, and it's reducing the carbon footprint from where it was, and it also provides us energy resilience, and we're giving lots of energy back to the grid to help our community during those rough periods. But the second thing that we're really passionate about is hydrogen. So we actually have retrofitted many of our winter vehicles as hybrid hydrogen fleet, and we're using those and starting to create that demand for the supply, because in those cold weather conditions, electricity and batteries, we don't think are the answer. Absolutely the answer from a broader sustainability perspective, but we want to bring that hydrogen play into our province.
And how do you, with all of this innovation in mind and all the kind of future focus, I guess, of a lot of your work, how are you viewing the connected airport of the future?
It's a great question. I joked earlier that it's not self-bag drops. One of the things that I'm passionate about is data, and I'll broaden that to be about events. So I worked in energy, and what we want to be doing is creating a national service, and we have support from the Canadian Airport Council, we have support from government, from Transport Canada, to create this brokering system where critical events are shared across airlines, airports, agencies, so that we all have situational awareness, and we can improve our ops, we can provide more reliable services, and we can help our passengers. And we did this in energy. It was a very common practice. And so for me, from a career legacy perspective, if we can move that needle, I think we're actually not just connecting airports, we're connecting the industry.
Tara, you said it's not just about passenger bag drops. One of the other key themes of this summit is the passenger experience.
Yes.
What are you looking at in that space?
Great question. Yeah, so we're doing a terminal modernization. No more footprint. never again, but we want to use flow, we want to use technology to help enable us to grow, but grow sustainably. So without, my CEO calls it decoupling infrastructure from growth. So when we look at it, we're really looking at how do we start to create that agile building envelope? How do we enable IoT frames and different standards, smart standards, so that we can start to really make the building effective and smart? How can we then work with airlines and not necessarily do what they think they want to do, but negotiate with them? How do we really use common use technologies and lower cost startup options to enable those improvements? But I also believe technology alone can make a very lonely, cold airport. And so we can't displace people and the concept of service with technology. I think it's a balance that we have to strike.
Thank you. You mentioned airlines there.
Yeah.
How do you optimize the collaboration between airlines, the airport, and air traffic management?
Yeah, it's challenging. That's a big one, right? So for me, the data piece is important in that we're going to have workshops nationally and invite everyone to the table. And part of it, I hope, is to really educate everyone and build that design thinking to help them understand the different roles and the different parts we all play in the ecosystem. Then agree on sort of what is that minimum viable product and actually do it. And that then can start to have conversations about, so from a technology perspective, what should we be doing? Rather than picking tools, shouldn't we be adopting principles like open standards, right? Looking at non-locked-in proprietary tools first. Everything with an API. And if we can start to work like that and really reduce costs for aviation overall in Canada, because our model's different. We are a not-for-profit group of authorities. Every dollar an airport adds, every dollar an airline adds, makes the cost of travel more expensive for Canadians, very much like what the Berlin CEO talked about. So we're really trying to do this from a financially sustainable place.
Tara, thank you so much for your time this morning. It's been a pleasure to have you on Altitude. Great to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm joined by Aletta von Massenbach, CEO of Berlin Brandenburg Airport. Aletta, welcome to Altitude.
Hi, good morning.
Aletta, I've just watched your opening keynote speech for the summit. Would you like to tell us about some of the key messages that you spoke about?
Well, I was a bit introducing Berlin Airport, the history of Berlin Airport. We just opened, 5 years ago, so the recent experience we made in these 5 years. Opening an airport with such a not that easy construction history was not, it was not so much fun, but then opening it during COVID made it even, a bit more challenging, but also gave us the opportunity to completely rethink how to make the operations, how to structure the processes, etc. I was talking about that. Then, what do we have in mind besides operational efficiency, operational performance, and excellence? We have in mind, when it comes to financial stability, connectivity is a key thing, obviously, for the capital airport, but also sustainability, to give you a catchword.
Perfect. Thank you, Alessa. You also spoke about the challenges facing German aviation. How are you in Berlin dealing with some of that?
Well, the good thing is we are sitting in Berlin and we are sitting at the source of the problem, meaning the federal government. So we are pretty next door. So we come by every other day and complain about the regulatory framework under which we operate here. And the key thing, taking, jokes aside, the key thing is competitiveness. And we all know that aviation is a very competitive market and sector. And all players in this sector need to be competitive in order to play its role. And this is something that for the German government, for a couple of years was difficult, because they believed that the different road could bring, a better results. But now they see that Germany, the third largest economy in the world, lack capacity and lack connectivity to the world. And this is something that they understood now and took also measures. And we believe that this will really then also promote German aviation.
You mentioned in your speech that if you're going to build a new airport, one of your first primary lessons was to do so quickly. What other lessons have you learned through opening Berlin?
So I think, the construction period was not that long. If I'd only take construction period, but then it took 9 years to open it. And this means that during these 9 years, lots of things have changed in aviation. Market changes, so we would deal with other airlines, so they have other requirements. The airport was built, so to say, having in mind Berlin, and they are no longer there. So we have different clients now for whom we need to, with whom we work. This is one thing. The other thing is that technology has so much changed in the last 10, 15 years. And this change, you would expect to see this in a new airport. You open this airport and you see it was designed 15 years ago. It was designed pre the iPhone. So everything needed to be touched again in order to make it proof for the 21st century.
One of the key lenses through which we need to view aviation is environmental sustainability. How do you balance operational efficiency with environmental responsibility?
Well, I think, first of all, we need to be a bit humble when it comes to airports, because what can we do about the overall impact that aviation, the 3% that it produces to the global emissions, how can we help to reduce that? So we see that, from the 3% of aviation, 7% is coming from the airport. Still, this is a huge responsibility. Still, we are convinced, although it's not, so to say, the key changing parameter, but I think it also shows what can be done, because we are, in that sense, we as an airport are like a middle-sized city. What can cities do? So I think this is something like a very good also example for others to follow. And we can do so much more because it's just on our premises, it's our buildings, it's our money. It's not that we need to go to the old population and tell the people, you need to change your houses, you need to change your heating, but we can do that, and we do that.
Aletta, a final question, and perhaps a big picture one. How do you view the connected airport of the future?
The connected airport of the future, you mean a bit on the ground, when it comes to seamless travel? Or
indeed, yes. Well, you mentioned this in your keynote, the customer journey should start at their home. So perhaps tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we are, it's the one thing is to change a bit the attitude. Okay, we take care of the passenger. Is it our passenger? It's the airline passenger. Whose passenger is? It's a person. It's a human. So they want or need to travel, and they have travel needs. And this starts when they start to plan their trip. They want to get certain information. They want to have certain security, that they can park their car, how to get to the airport, and all that. We need to think about this process as well. That was what I tried to explain, when I said, the journey starts much earlier. But how do we know as airports that, Russell wants to travel, and he wants to travel tomorrow from Berlin to Timbuktu? So how do we know? Because as airport, we just don't know and don't have that data. So it's about, how to get into this, for the benefit of Russell. I mean, so he gets the information that he needs in order to be best prepared for his trip.
Aletta, thank you so much for joining us on Altitude. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your interest, and great you're in Berlin.
Joining us now is Vanesa Calvo from Aena. Vanesa, hello and welcome to Altitude.
Thank you for this invitation. I'm really happy to be here to share my experience from the airport perspective.
I understand you are speaking on a panel later today.
Yes, I do.
And the subject?
Well, they call digital airside, but I want to introduce our concept of a digital ramp. So let's see later.
Tell us a little bit about the digital ramp then.
Okay, you want to know what is our strategy? So we think that we need to give services to the airlines. So that's why we are creating like a digital ramp. All the processes must be connected, and the airline can connect to that digital platform, and we can cooperate in real time. That's the simple as that.
Thank you. I also understand that you have a ventures accelerator program working with startups. How's that going?
Yes, I'm really happy of that program. We believe that true innovation comes into place when we open the doors to collaboration. So that's why we created Aena Ventures program, which is our open innovation program, is designed to accelerate and support startups that have uh, innovations and disruptive technologies on the airport ecosystem.
Thank you, Vanessa. So when you're deploying new innovations, new technologies, or new ways of working, what are some of the challenges that you typically face?
Oh my God. So, yeah, so we all know that when you introduce advanced technology in the airport ecosystem, there are going to be challenges. So, that's for sure. And these challenges are not technological. I am so sad about that, but it's because we face organizational and also regulatory challenges. That's because we introduce technology in, you know, we have many security and safety requirements. We also have legacy systems, regulatory procedures. So that's the difficult part. What I recommend or what we do in our airports, two things that we do. First thing is to collaborate with the operational team from the very beginning. When you co-create the solution with the people that is gonna use that solution, you reduce risks, you accelerate the process, and also you have more information to change management. And the second thing is that you need to have like a environmental real environment when you can validate solution, but in a controlled space.
Vanessa, thank you very much. You paint a very exciting picture for the future of airports. Good luck with your panel this afternoon.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you on Altitude. Thank you.
Thank you.
India's aviation industry is growing faster than anywhere else in the world, and at the heart of that rapid expansion is Noida International Airport. And I'm joined by Afrin Shaikh from Noida to tell us a little bit more. Hello, Afrin. Welcome to Altitude.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you here on the show.
Same here.
So in Noida, you have a unique opportunity. You're building a new airport from the ground up. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So not many gets an opportunity to work at a greenfield airport, but yes, because this opportunity has come to me, and we are really looking forward to build a digital experience airport. At the same time, we are looking at how data can be utilized, as well as bring data-driven decision making to the industry. At the same time, because the catchment that we offer, it's very interesting. Honestly, we are about 70 kilometers from Delhi, but the catchment that we offer is about an hour from our airport is Taj Mahal, or even very interesting Vrindavan and Mathura as well. So at our greenfield airport that we are offering today is, or we will be offering going forward, is having a 100% digital airport, most innovative airport at the same time, and also look at how we can bring experience to life. So looking at passenger experience is definitely crucial, but collaborating with our stakeholders, with aviation, with our government bodies, does really make an edge to our airport.
Thanks, Afrin. So you talked there about a digital airport. Tell us a little bit more about that, what that means, and how you'll be using data.
Sure. So right now, digital it's a huge plethora of on the internet, I would say. So what we are looking at the moment is digitizing smaller events as well, because we are a greenfield airport, as I said. So it gives us an opportunity to get rid of the legacies, right? A lot of discussions, a lot of processes that we have at the moment have been on paper. So we are trying to digitize that. Looking at digitization, we are offering different applications, but yet not cluttering or creating debts for ourselves as well. So we are looking at creating a digital operational readiness at the moment. And while we do that, we are bringing our airside, landside, as well as terminal together. So under one roof, we have some applications which are helping them with shift logs, digital logs. At the same time, applications where my safety, security, incidents can be logged, and a real-time knowledge can be passed on to the management. So that something is what we look at digital. Now, this is obviously from the employee side at the airport level, but at the same time, while we are aware of these things, it gives us a second edge or an edge to give that experience back to our passengers. So getting Digi from entrance perspective, at the same time taking it ahead and making sure that there is a fast baggage or a self baggage drop at our airport, making that seamless for the passengers is something that we look for.
Thank you, Afrin. And one of the key themes of this summit is the passenger experience. I know you've just spoken on a panel about use of biometrics. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you foresee that?
Absolutely. So passenger experience obviously is absolutely important for us to ensure that passenger is not once we enter, okay, one entering the airport doesn't become a passenger for us. So at Noida, we also talk about how to bring the passenger to our gates, or rather entry gates at the moment, right? So the journey actually starts before even the passenger is entering our airport entry gates at the moment. So that is something that we are really looking forward, that from the curb or from maybe the car seat, right, to bring the passenger to the gates, and then the passenger processing that really starts, right, from the very touch points. So while Digi is one of the biometric that we have subscribed to, we are taking that one notch up and ensuring that this is seamless. So at the entry gate, we will be having a Digi enabled system, okay, and along with our passenger processing devices that we have. And while they enter the airport, while they do the check-in, while they pass the security, that's our vision, to go ahead and have a seamless passenger processing. While the seamless passenger processing happens and they reach the gate, they have ample amount of time, right, to look at the airport, look at the commercial sector, and that also hits our revenue while the passengers are around. That really helps them to buy things, explore the airport, explore the facilities at the airports, right, just not traveling to the airport.
Afrin, thank you. Fantastic response. Perhaps one final question for you. Sustainability is a big topic for aviation in general. How, in the designs that you're putting forward, are you kind of balancing that need for environmental responsibility?
Absolutely. Environment's responsibility is definitely one of the key aspects, and we also look at sustainability very, very, I would say, in the minute level. So what we really have is a solar farm today already active for our airport. Although, along with that, what we really have is all our ground fleets that we are going to have at our airport is 100% EV. So we do not have any kind of non-EV vehicles on or that's what a conscious effort that we are making. We are supporting 100% EV vehicles and EV fleets at the airport, and that's have been our focus, so that we can contribute better to sustainability. And our plan is to at least go carbon neutral, at least in the coming few years.
Afrin, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy here at the summit, so it's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much. It has been great talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm joined by Graeme MacLeod from Manchester Airports Group. Graeme, hello and welcome to Altitude.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here on the show. How are you finding the summit so far?
It's been very interesting so far. I was on a panel this morning talking about how we unlock capacity within Airfield using artificial intelligence and other tools. So that was interesting to talk about that and explore that with Marco from Zurich.
And so how do you do that? How do you unlock that capacity?
There's a number of ways that we're exploring. So in Manchester itself, we're currently implementing digital apron management system, and that essentially allows us to X-ray through piers so the air traffic controllers can see aircraft on the other side of the building. And it's a bit of a problem that we've got in Manchester, and the way that we've constructed our piers is that the air traffic controllers don't really see the aircraft in those areas. So we do a thing called procedural movements to move the aircraft around, which slows down the capacity. Around about 18% of capacity. It's like operating in low visibility conditions 100% of the time. So we're working with nats and Searage to implement a hybrid camera array, which augments aircraft data such as the tail sign or call sign and aircraft registration, and overlays that onto a screen so the air traffic controller can actually physically see that area as if they were looking out the window. So that's one thing that we're doing. Artificial intelligence is used to stitch all of that together and make it feel like one seamless view.
And what are the performance gains that the airport can expect to see from that type of technology?
Yeah, so in dams, we think there's around about 1 to 2 extra movements per hour, per peak hour, that we can build into the capacity of the airport. And for our dynamic stand planning tool, that's more about actual better use of the concrete, so we don't have to go and build more concrete to accommodate more aircraft because we've got an inefficient plan.
And when you're implementing new technologies and strategies such as these, what are the key challenges that you need to overcome?
Well, I think when you're building things like artificial intelligence into your operation, you've got to think about how does the human interact with that. The CAA talked to you about the JARA scale, which is about human on the loop or in the loop, human on the loop, and then human off the loop. And it's the levels of automation. So if you've got a car that keeps you in the lanes on the motorway, that would be a like level 2 automation. So the human's still in the loop, they're just not actively controlling it at that moment in time. But if they need to intervene, they can. When you look at things like our IAOP, which is our intelligent or initial airport operating plan, that's a human off the loop. So it's a level 5 automation, and that predicts when an aircraft's going to arrive and depart around about 36 hours out, very, very accurately as well. So, and we don't really need anyone to interact with that. All we do is feed it information such as weather and aircraft scheduling, etc.
So how do you build that trust for the human operator then?
So I think there's 3 layers to building trust, and I made up the A to mnemonic. So augment is the first one. So is the information, I give the air traffic controller or the airport operator the information, and they can see that information is correct. And over time, you then develop that to inform. So you're, in the case of, say, taxiway planning, so a taxiway route, you might start to suggest to the controller what would be the most optimal route for the airport at that moment in time. And then eventually, once you've built enough trust, you go to direct. That's what you should do. And we want you to do that because that's the right thing for the airport and the airport operation. But if you, as the human oversight and the accountable person, think that's wrong, tell us why it's wrong so that we can then really go back round to learning it.
Thank you, Graeme. In terms of, well, maybe a big picture question to finish then. What's the kind of long-term vision for Manchester Airport Group?
Well, we just opened our brand new Terminal 2 West. Absolutely fabulous. Huge extension, more stands, great experience for our passengers. We're closing Terminal 1 at the moment, and Ryanair will be dedicated into Terminal 3 in Manchester. In Stansted, we've just embarked on a huge building programme to extend the back of the terminal, and that will see more capacity in the departures halls and arrivals halls, and a better customer experience in the airport. And ultimately, what we're trying to do is grow our business into the into the next 20, 30 years. We've got plans, big plans for doing that.
Graeme, thank you very much. Exciting times.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Great to have you on Altitude. Critical to airport efficiency is stand management, and I'm joined by Kemal Ahmed from NATS to tell us a little bit more. Hello, Kemal, and welcome to Altitude.
Thank you.
How are you finding the summit? How's it going?
I mean, it's been fantastic so far. A lot of airports here really engaged in new technologies, which I think is really exciting, and looking to improve. And I think that's what we're trying to show. So the fact that mindset is really open within this event is great, and a really positive morning so far.
Excellent. If we're to talk about stand management a little bit, what's the problem that we're kind of helping to solve here?
So it's interesting. It's a big topic actually, and it's often an afterthought. You have the operations of the airport, the airfield operations, and there's a lot of different things that go into that: capacity of the runway, the de-icing, turnaround of the aircraft, and then often that stand management part becomes a sort of last bit, and it's difficult, not really systemized, and quite long. So that can then cause a lot of problems, especially when you know there's probably somewhere your aircraft can park, but it's waiting for a stand to become open, and because the stand management hasn't happened properly, there's no way of moving that aircraft into the correct place. That creates delays. No passenger likes to be sitting on an aircraft for 15 minutes looking at a stand with an aircraft already in it, knowing you're not getting on it until that stand's gone, and that's what we're trying to solve.
And so you're here with the NATS team to demonstrate Intelligent Stand Manager. Can you tell me how that helps to solve the problem?
So what Intelligent Stand Manager is trying to do, and I think what we do well at NATS, is we can take into account the operations on the airfield. So as well as looking at what's happening inside the terminal, the operations in the airfield, the flow of traffic onto the runway, the amount of aircraft taxiing and manoeuvring and trying to depart, we can take all that into account when creating a good stand plan. Therefore, we're able to get more efficiency into that plan and make it better, essentially. So still taking into account that the aircraft wants to be in this location and this size of aircraft has to park here, but also taking into account, well, actually, this could cause a bottleneck of aircraft trying to park that taxiway at the same time. This could cause an issue because this aircraft can't park here and it's going to have to wait. And what our tool can do is really sort of unlock those blockers and do something really efficient and do it automatically.
And how quickly can the system respond?
This is really important, is seconds. The system can respond in seconds. So from the system finding out that an aircraft on the stand is going to be delayed by 7 minutes, maybe the catering hasn't arrived, it can't leave for 7 minutes, from the system finding that out, within 1 or 2 seconds, a new plan has been generated, maybe manoeuvring aircraft waiting to get onto that stand, putting that somewhere else, shifting a few other things around to make it really efficient. That is done in a matter of a couple of seconds. Notifies the end user, tells them this is what it's doing, and there you go, new stand and done.
Thank you. One of the things that strikes me through talking to different people at the summit is the variety of different challenges faced by different airports. Can you tailor the Intelligent Stand Manager for particular airports?
Yeah, you definitely can. So this is one of the key features that is there, is that we know that the operations often can require different things. So in a very busy period, you have a lot of low-cost airlines flying in between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. and they're all leaving and departing within that 3 or 4 hour block. On-time performance could be the key driver to the management of the stands. So we can tailor it so that during that time, on-time performance is really the thing which influences the stand plan. If after that you have a slower period and you're really concerned about unallocated stands or distance from the runway, distance from the icing pad, you can then change the way the stand plan is done to take into account those things and be more efficient in that way. So tailoring towards what the airport needs. It's not just if you have capacity issues. You may be having to close stands, doing some work. You may have temporary closure of stands for a day, then another stand for a few days. The system can automatically reflect that and sort of manage it. So there's lots of things that can change a plan. And plans often are only good for about 5 minutes, and then something impacts it. And the idea is that whatever that is, this system is able to manage.
So you make a reference there, I think, to change and potentially disruption. How does Intelligent Stand Manager help with resilience?
So it enables you to keep to your plan as much as possible. So by developing stuff in a strategic way, you're able to create your winter plan 3 or 4 months out. You're then able to, rather than spending days and days making it, you can actually just spend time making it better, making it more efficient, looking at areas where you have trouble in the past and fixing that well before it happens. So what this enables you to do is hopefully stick to your plan much better than you've ever been able to do in the past. And therefore, that's where the benefit really comes.
Thank you. And here at the summit, it's very clear that one of the key themes is sustainability. How does Intelligent Stand Manager help in that respect?
I mean, in quite a few ways. Obviously, the use of resources around the turnaround of the aircraft, around the positioning of the aircraft is quite intense. The carbon footprint around all of those things is massive, and having wasted resource and wasted effort has a negative impact on the environment, and this tries to remove that as much as possible. You're also able to then be more efficient with the way you use auxiliary power units. The distance that you're taxiing to and from the runway, you're able to give the airline more confidence on the amount of time they're going to take from the stand to the runway, enabling things like single engine taxiing and more efficient taxi routing. So they're able to bring all of that stuff in, and because the airline's more confident about it, they're able to do some of these efficiency measures in a much better way.
Thank you, Kemal. And one final question. What's your vision for the airport of the future?
So I think automation is a really key thing here. And if we're going to bring some of those sustainability goals that everyone has at the moment, being able to automate things in a way that allows the sort of key resources actually to make things better. This is what we're trying to do with stand planning, automate a lot of the difficult stuff which takes a long time, so that the people that are managing it can focus on doing it better and making it more efficient. I think this is the same for the future look of the airport. We can do that not just on the stand, but also moving to the runway, and then on the runway up into the air, then you're suddenly seeing a huge amount of efficiency. So we can bring that automation across that whole path. I think that's where the future lies. And then the passengers are automatically having a better time because everything's running a lot more smoothly, and then go shopping in the terminal and spend their money there, which is what all airports want at the end of the day.
Kemal, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us on Altitude.
Thank you, it's been a pleasure.